Here again with my final Breaking Bad Season 3 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find out you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for all of you out there that are wondering, I've seen Breaking Bad many times. At least 8 times. This might even be my 10th time. So join me and the man, the myth, and the legend, Crazy Coffee Man, in the comment section to discuss this awesome and amazing show. With that in mind, this will be Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 13, the Season 3 finale. The title of this episode is called Full Measure. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. And I will have some unpopular opinions about this episode. We start off with a scene from the past when Walt and Skyler first look at the house that they live in now, while Skyler is actually pregnant with Walter Jr. Skyler likes the dining room, the kitchen spacious, and the cool breakfast bar. Walt mentions to Skyler that he wants 3 kids. I don't know if she wants even 2, but she ended up having 2. Skyler wants a wine cellar, so okay, I'll compromise. You get all your kids and I get my wine, a lot of it. Back to present time, Walt's Aztec is in rough shape after hitting those 2 thugs, I guess I'm going to call them because we don't have names for them. Walt's phone rings and it startles him, and it's Mike calling. Walt wants some assurances. Mike says, "I assure you, I could kill you from over here." Walt and Mike meet face to face. Mike says, "Walter, you've been busy," and Mike does a pat down to make sure that Walt's not carrying. Mike says he was out all night cleaning up after Walt. Mike says, "You're gonna want to get your car fixed." Gus is also in Mike's car, or the vehicle that, I guess it wasn't Mike's car, it was what they drove in, as well as Victor. And Gus asks Walt if his medical condition worsened, and Walt says, "Well, quite well, actually." And Gus says, "Explain yourself." And Walt says, Jesse was angry that the 11-year-old boy was murdered. I thought he was 10 years old. He also says Jesse thinks Gus may have gave the order to have Tomas killed. Walt says, him and I are done. Option A, you have 2 choices. Option A, you kill me right now. Kill Jesse Pinkman too. Option B, Walt continues to cook. The lone hiccup in the arrangement, Walt would need a new assistant. So Jesse will be out of the equation and Walt will get somebody else. And Gus says, "This time, I choose who your assistant will be." Walt arrives at the lab. His Aztec has been fixed, and Gus has brought back the good old buddy, or Walt's good old buddy, Gail Bedecker. Granddaughter time for Mike with Haley Ehrmantraut. Mike has a bunch of balloons, and the balloons work to touch the power line, making the cameras go out where Mike's at. This whole scene was kind of thrown in there. Mike kills a bunch of guys. He talks to Chow. It was a good part where Mike's like, there's this one thug is here, and Mike's here, and there's something between them, and Chow's going like this to like let him know how high he needs to go to aim for the head, and then he goes like that to let him know, hey, you're right, and then Mike shoots the guy in the head. That's just one of the people he killed, and he's the guy that they get chemicals from, apparently. And then Mike, asks, "How's your hand?" And Chow's like, "Good." And, "Is your assistant out there? Could she drive? Could she speak English?" "Yeah, she's good." So Mike shoots Chow in the hand. Why? Because Mike's an asshole. No, Chow must have did something wrong or worked with the wrong people, and it pissed Mike off. And then Mike goes back to Gus Fring. Walt and Gail finish cooking a batch. Victor stayed in the lab there to kind of supervise and listen to Walt said. Walt tells Gail about the drama, the person that Gail replaced, and then Gail intends to be perfect this time. He doesn't want to get replaced. He wants to be perfect for the great Walter White. And then we spend some time with Gail in his apartment. Gail is sure an oddball, And then there's a knock at the door. It's Gus Fring. Gus asks Gale if push came to shove, would Gale be able to take over the lab? And Gus tells Gale that Walt is dying of cancer. That's why he does this. And Gale says he must prepare, or Gus says he must prepare for the worst case scenario. And then Gale tells Gus he'd need 1 or 2 more cooks for Walt. And then he just says 1 more cook with Walt to kind of get his routine down. And then we have Mike at Saul's office. Saul's getting like a massage on the ground. And Mike interrupts Saul while he's in his conference. It's a massage, but he's calling it a conference. And Mike's looking for Jesse Pinkman, current whereabouts. And Saul says there are rules. Saul says he can't tell him where Jesse is. And then he's like, but I might have wrote it down on a notebook, and then leaves the office. And then Mike picks up the spiral pad, not a notebook. And Saul, through that, ends up giving Mike the address where Jesse is, or at least where Mike thinks Jesse might be. Of course, that's all bullshit. Saul takes Walt to a laser tag place. They're talking all about, buying a business and the car, and, the car wash would be a better idea, Walt says. People will believe that. And Saul's upset that his own PI is threatening to break his legs. Saul just brought them there because that's where Jesse is hiding out. Walt tells Jesse he got his old job back, at least till they kill me. Walt's been trying to be vague as possible to Gale Boetticher. And Walt suggests that they have to take out Gale, as he'd be the only chemist Gus would have left. So Jesse tells Walt he can't do it. And then Walt needs Jesse to help to find out where Gale lives, since Victor's always watching Walt. And Walt will take care of offing Gale Boetticher. Does Gale Boetticher really need to die? I mean, I know, but can't they just, kidnap him and hide him somewhere? I think that would be a better scenario. And then Walt tells Jesse, I saved your life. Jesse, are you going to save mine? And then Jesse calls Walt later on to tell him that he found out where Gale lives. He's home. Walt says he's going to do it tonight. And Jesse pleads with Walt not to do it, because Jesse doesn't want to see anybody innocent die like people that have died in the past. So Victor pulls up to Walt, says there's a problem. There's a chemical leak in the lab. They told me to bring you. And Walt's like, well, I'll get in my car and follow you there. And Victor's like, no, you come with me. So Walt is brought to the laundromat, and Mike is there as well. And Walt knows that Mike is going to kill him. Walt says he'll cook for free. Let me talk to Gus. Please, let me talk to him. And Walt tells Mike he'll give him Jesse Pinkman. And then Walt says he'll call him and have him meet me. And Mike's kind of annoyed with all this. And then Walt does end up calling Jesse. And Walt tells Jesse, you got to go do it. They've got me at the laundromat and they're going to kill me. Mike points the gun at Walt. He tells Mike, you better hold off because your boss is going to need me. And then Walt says Gale Boetticher's address. And Mike immediately kind of freaks out and tries to call Gale. And, of course, Gale's a little busy cooking stuff and doesn't hear the phone go off. So Jesse shows up at Gale's place. Jesse pulls the gun out, and Gale says, take whatever you want. He doesn't seem worried at first. Take whatever you want. Because he recognizes him as the twerp from the lab. I think he recognizes him. And then, Jesse's still pulling the gun, or having the gun out at him. And then Jesse's kind of tearing up. And then Gale says, you don't have to do this. And then Jesse shoots the innocent Gale Boetticher in the head. Although we don't see it, but we hear it. And that's what ends the episode and the season. So this episode is rated 9.7 out of 10. Last 5 minutes of the episode, brilliant. Before then, I was kind of bored. Honestly, this episode is not a 9.7 out of 10. I'm going to rate it an 8.4 out of 10. I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion because people seem to love this. I mean, the end with Mike, and Walt knows that Mike's going to kill him. You better hold off because your boss is going to need me. And then Gale, getting shot. That stuff's all good, but everything before then, it was kind of boring. And the randomness of Mike being at that place killing all the people, I know it fits in with the story, but it was thrown in this episode when they could have done it in each episode leading up to this. We didn't see Mike much in season 3. And I thought we could have got those moments in other episodes. And then, of course, the flashback scenes of Walt and Skyler visiting, going to their house before they had Walter Jr., while she was pregnant. So, yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I just don't like what I saw on IMDb. And I'll give the characters of the episode to Walt and Mike. I can't give it to a female because really Skyler didn't have a lot to do in this episode other than flashbacks. So I think we had something with Hank in the episode, and I guess I didn't write it down. But oh well, it is what it is. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, or El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, which hopefully you're a fan of all three of those, make sure that you Hulk smash the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Share the video with a friend, especially one that really likes Breaking Bad. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms, or all of them. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your opinions are on this episode. Are you really upset that I gave the episode an 8.4 out of 10 when IMDb has it rated a 9.7? Let me know. Of course, me and Crazy Coffee Man will be in the comment section discussing the show with you. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.